Hello and welcome to a short video where I'll be showing you how I've used Power Automate Desktop to automate a process for sorting a data file on a daily or weekly basis, or in fact whenever a file arrives in a folder. Now, Power Automate Desktop is part of Office 365, and we are in the process at the moment of using it for a number of our internal processes. But this video will show you how it's very simple to use to automate a sortation job in this case, but of course any automation of a software bureau solution such as SwiftCleanse, SwiftPath, and indeed Cygnus. So first thing to do is to look at the flow that I've set up, and I've used a number of the actions from the left-hand menu, and I'll just walk through each of them before we have a look at the workflow actually running. So first thing, first action is waiting for a file. So if I open that there, you can see the parameters. We are waiting for a file to be created or arrive, and the file path is C data daily and then the file name of demo-b.psv. Okay. The next action is run the application. Now in this case, the application is actually a batch file. It's called natfirstdailycampaign.bat, sitting on my desktop. And within that batch file, it calls SwiftSort to run a predefined campaign using obviously the parameters that were set up at the appropriate time. And at the bottom, there's quite an important action, which is wait for the application to complete, which means the next step in our flow, which would be step 4, it won't actually commence until the SwiftSort process itself has completed. Okay, step 4, moving a file. Now, once our file has been received and then processed, we're moving it into a history folder. If it exists already, we'll just overwrite it, but that doesn't matter because obviously the file has already been processed. We're just merely moving it into a history folder. We're now using an action called rename file. So we're taking our demo-b.psv that we've just written into the history folder, and we're adding a date time scheme. We're using the current date time, and we're writing it after the name with a space separator. And the format here, as you can see, is hours, minutes, and seconds, followed by the year, the month, and the day. Okay. And then having renamed it, we then move some of the output from our sortation that was run. First file being dailymailing.csv, that's the output file, so the sorted data from the SwiftSort process. We're moving it into a folder called mailing resources. Now we also do that for the other resources that have been output from that sort, so not just the mailing data itself, but the dailymailing.pdf, which is the analysis report, the bag file, the .bag there. Scroll down, you can see we've got the line listing as well. So those 4 files that we need to fulfill the mailing have all been written into our mailing resources folder. And once in there, we're now going through 4 steps rather, 4 actions to rename all of those resources. And if I open that to have a look, we can see we've got daily mailing.bag, and we're similar function to what we did with the original data file. We're adding the date time in that format in that folder. And we do that 4 times with each of those resources so that we have uniquely named output. So if this process were to run again, it wouldn't overwrite the output files that we've just created. Okay, so let's see this in action. And to do that, we simply click the Run button. Okay, so our workflow is now running. And obviously, as mentioned previously, the first action that it's looking for is for this file demo-b.psv to be created. If I just move this out of the way by minimizing it, we can see here we have our 3 folders. The first one is the folder that we're polling. So we're looking for a file called demo-b.psv in here. And once that arrives, our workflow will run. We have the history. So having completed the sort, the input file will be written into this folder and then renamed. And then we have the mailing resources folder. So the output from our sort, our data, our planning analysis report, line listing and bag file will all be written into this folder and then renamed as per the flow we were looking at. Okay, so here's our flow, and what I'll do is I'll just drop it down in size, and then I'll paste our file into the required folder. Okay, and there we are. So that's now running. Here's the SwiftSort processing taking place. Okay, so that's finished. If I open up these folders again, you'll see that it's moved the file demob out of that folder into the history folder and added the timestamp and the date stamp. And it's written the output resources into our mailing resources folder, again with the timestamp and the date stamp. So if this was to run again, even today, then obviously all the output files will be named uniquely, so you wouldn't overwrite anything. And to prove that point, let's paste our file into this daily folder once again. So here's our processing. Runs through the rest of the flow, creates another copy of the output, this time dated, timed rather, same date, but timed slightly later. And we have two sets of output files that we can then go on and fulfill. And the key to that is, or the key to it rerunning, is this loop that I've added. So after the, or above the wait for file action, we have a loop which takes it all the way down to the bottom, to the end, and then once it reaches that point, it goes back to the top and then starts waiting for this file again. And this workflow will keep running until you hit stop. So basically it's polling all the time, and as soon as that file arrives, the whole process will run again. As mentioned, this is a very, very simple workflow in Power Automate Desktop. There are huge amounts of functionality within it, including sending emails to notify people of processes that are finished, sending Teams messages, to polling SFTP folders, including password allocation. So huge amounts of functionality, but this is just a very, very simple way of automating a daily or regular SwiftSort campaign. Okay, thanks for watching. Any questions, drop me an email or give me a call. Thank you very much.